Fake news. Fake news. Fake news. Fake news. It's fake. Phony. Fake news.
Whether we like it or not, fake news is here to stay. So today in LitePsych, we're going to find out why the truth you know isn't always correct. We often hear that the truth is subjective, and there is some truth to this, as it is us who give value, significance, and judgments in the everyday experiences that we encounter. It's why you might not have believed it when you heard for the first time that your ex is dating someone new, but others did. Our truth judgments come from three sources: base rates, feelings, and our memories. Let's first talk about base rates. Having base rates means we're equipped with a general understanding of how the world works. It's our general knowledge of life. And one general idea or belief we have from our base rates is the thinking that, in general, things are more likely to be true than false. And we have this thinking precisely because we grew up in a world of truths. We've been surrounded by truths ever since we were born. We function because we accept the directions given to us as true, the lectures in schools given to us as true, and the advice of professionals such as doctors and attorneys as true. So because we're used to a world of truth, when we're confronted with new information and new experiences, we're also likely to give it that same benefit. Another general idea we have from our base rates is that seeing is believing. And this is cliche precisely because it's commonplace. Ghosts and unicorns are hard to believe because we don't see them. But my glasses, this chair, and those albums over there, I'm sure are unanimously true for all of us. So naturally, when we encounter new pieces of information, when they are accompanied by visual stimuli, we are more likely to see them as truths. So base rates generally nudge us to believe things as true, and the danger here is that we can find ourselves very gullible. The second source of our truth judgments are our feelings. If there's anything that we as a species like, it's comfort and for things to be easy. And because of this desire, our mind creates shortcuts or heuristics. In this case, our brain creates shortcuts for us to easier process whether something is true or not. One shortcut that our mind often uses is that we believe false pieces of information to be true when they're constantly repeated to us, otherwise known as the illusory truth effect. This is where the power of rumors come into play. At some point, it doesn't really matter whether you've had a crush on me or not. What matters more is if everyone believes it, then to an outsider, it must be true as well. The illusory truth effect can also be enhanced visually by contrasting big bold letters to thin ones if the pieces of information rhyme, like what sobriety conceals, alcohol reveals, and if that information is heard from a native speaker as opposed to someone who has an accent when speaking. Going back to having an easy life, we're also more likely to believe something to be true when it makes us feel good, and consequently be more skeptical when we're in a negative state of mind. Thus, at least when it comes to judging truth, having sadness take the front seat may not necessarily be a bad thing. Finally, we also judge truths based on evidence or our knowledge. We're more likely to believe something to be true when it aligns with what we know, whether they be universal truths like Barack Obama was a US president, very specific and personal truths like the date of your high school prom. Information that fits with the facts in our memories are more likely to be accepted as true, while those that don't often get rejected, even if they are credible and accurate information. One problem with this is that we're not very good at catching inconsistencies. If I asked you, how many animals did Moses take up on the ark? I don't know. But what they do know is that it was Noah. And for some of you who are watching, you may not even have noticed it. You just heard Moses and ark, and that clicks in your brain, and you didn't even bother to verify if the question was valid to begin with. While our memories can be evidence for the truth, we neglect, misremember, and sometimes just straight up forget them. So our truth judgments come from three things. Number one are our base rates, where we're inclined to believe things to be true in general, and pictures and visual stimuli help a lot. Number two, from our feelings. Anything that's easy to process, we have a bias for that to be true. Number 3, they have to align with our memories and our knowledge. So you might think that with all we've learned, fighting fake news may be a burden and maybe impossible, but that's not necessarily the case. We have 4 tips to share with you when it comes to fighting fake news. Number 1, remember that these sources are universal. So in the same way that a person is inclined to believe fake news, that same inclination is also possible and present for correct news and for true news. In short, while people may believe fake news, they are just as inclined to believe the truth. Number 2, based on people's appeal to base rates, when we're fighting misconceptions, it's important we add visual stimuli to the information that we're trying to share. Let's make it captivating and engaging to the audience so that that information really latches on to their minds. If the fake news that you're fighting gets people very emotional, do not engage those same emotions. Remember, emotions are very easy for us to process. And when we're trying to filter out fake news, we want the critical part of our minds to do the heavy lifting and not the shortcuts that we implement. Number 4, especially in social media and just anywhere, really. Whenever you come across a new piece of information, just take a pause, do your research, ask around. There is no harm in taking a moment to make sure that what you're reading is correct, but there is irreparable harm if you join the wildfire of fake news, even though you don't mean to. And that's why the truth you know isn't always correct. Let us know below in the comments what fake news have you mistakenly shared over the past few years, and what have you learned about it. Follow us on Instagram at LitePsych and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest psychology in simple terminology. This is Jim. Thanks for watching.